Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is Fernando Jose,
And I'm Sergio Rodriguez.
and today we're going to be doing a real estate video for the month of May. And we're going to be talking about current trends, current market activity, and also we're going to throw in a fun little section for this month. And we're going to be talking about negotiation strategies. So I hope you guys are ready and enjoy. So for the first section, we're going to be doing an update of the market, what's going on. So right now, currently in the Dallas housing market, inventory levels have been steadily rising. Just like all the few previous months, they've been steadily going up. Right now, I'm seeing we have approximately 4,000 homes for sale, which is an 11.6% increase from last month, and it has risen 48.2% compared to the same time last year. So that's almost double from what we've seen last year in terms of inventory levels. And last time we also talked about why that was happening. And Sergio, you talked about it, right? Why are these homes? Why are we seeing this increase?
Well, market conditions, right? You got the interest rates still a little higher than they were before. We have new, tariffs, you can say. We're going through a new administration adjustment. So it's what do you call the sentiments, the emotions of the public. People are just a little bit checking things out. I think the people who are buying are the ones who have been thinking about this for probably more than a year and didn't get to buy when the market was really strong, and so now that prices seem to be a little bit more flat or maybe come down in certain areas. Now it's a perfect time for them to make this decision. And same thing for sellers. Maybe some sellers were, waiting, not ready to make a move, and now because of the market, it's kind of soft. They can calmly, make a move, sell, and then buy.
Right. And with this increase of inventory, what we see for seller side is just how crucial the correct pricing is, because overpricing the home just by a small margin can result in it being in the market for a long period of time, which causes you to have to lower the price than what you originally wanted.
Right. So more and more houses are coming on the market, and I think the average days in the market was around 65 days, give or take. And then you have pockets that are different, but some houses are still selling within 5 or 10 days. And what
Wow.
causes those houses to sell? From my experience, what I'm seeing is these houses are very nicely either updated or very well kept, and they're in a desirable area still, and they're priced right. Just
Right.
like what you said, they're priced right. So when they're priced right, they're going to sell. Because what happens is there's current buyers out there who have been looking for homes. Again, there's not a sense of urgency. So because houses are taking a little bit longer on the market. If houses were selling within 5 days, people will be making offers right away. That means
Yeah.
it's a seller's market. So we're in a buyer's market.
There we
And
go.
so they're staying a little bit on the market. So buyers don't have a sense of urgency that I need to bid on this house right away, unless it's priced right, well kept, updated, and and in the area location that they're looking for.
Right. And this is why it's so important for sellers to know their agents, know who you're working with. Because if you get with an agent that does not price well, that is not familiar with the current market and is not up to date with the current market, and they price it how they were pricing it the last 5 years, the last 3 years, even the last 2 years, even, which is not that long ago. If you use the same pricing strategies that you had back then in those current markets, then what you result in is you having to lower the price because it sits on the market for too much. And because of the high inventory rate, it's also important to work with a real estate agent who can market your home the best. So not just a real estate agent that's going to put a sign in front of your door for sale, maybe run a few open houses, which we know open houses don't really get you that strong of leads, but you have to work with an agent who's going to put your home out there for as many potential buyers to see. Sergio, I know what you've been implementing is a strategy to get those homes. You've been putting advertisements on your listings. You've been grinding out Facebook groups, getting the word out there,
Right.
and as well as social media exposure. These things are really important. This is the modern day. This is not 10 years ago.
I'm glad you brought that up, Fernando. So, tell you a little quick story. I don't think I mentioned it here this recently, but it's still fresh on my mind. Where a seller contacted me who had their house for sale with another real estate agent for 3 months and didn't sell, and asked me if I could sell the house for them. Well, I clearly immediately saw two or three things that were not right, that I think were not in the seller's favor to help them sell their home. For one, the pictures that were posted, they just dull. They look gloomy.
Hmm.
They weren't bright. They weren't catchy. And then the backyard with the aerial shot was full of leaves. The yard wasn't cleaned up. So if a buyer is going to be looking at properties, the first step is you got to like it online to be able to then call the agent or schedule it
Right.
to see it in person. And of course, now here's a bad thing. Sometimes they look so good online that they see it and then it's not what the pictures portray it to. We've had that also be a problem, right? But first step is you got to get the pictures right. You know what I mean? Without that, you don't start it. And then the second thing that was wrong was that the prices was not right. It was I clearly looked at the market, and that price that they had it listed did not justify it. So I told them, I says, I don't think I can help you, because if we put it at the same price 3 months from now, you're going to have the same result, because the price was one of the things, was probably the most important thing. Yeah. Next to the pictures of it. Right. So pricing is very important.
And quickly before we wrap up this section, let's talk interest rates. Everybody wants to hear the update on the interest rates. Right now, on an average 30-year fixed rate mortgage, we're around 6.8%, which is gone down a little bit from 2024's average, which was around 7.5%. So thankfully, our interest rates are stabilizing. They're calming down. And this section is going to be some buying and selling tips, just because this morning, Sergio, you were actually working through that, weren't you?
Right. Yes. So step one is find the home that you like. And then step two is put it under contract with your real estate agent. And then when you put it under contract, before you actually close on there, you want to get it inspected. It's a good rule of thumb. Unless you're a sophisticated buyer, somebody who's bought homes many times, feel very comfortable just on what you can see or what you've done. Say perhaps you're an investor, and so you have experience in this. It doesn't hurt still to get an inspector to have a second set of eyes.
Right.
So we always recommend our clients get it inspected. We provide them with a list of inspectors so they can pick one, or sometimes they have one on their own that they came across through some sort of other avenue. And so that becomes the important next step before you actually close on there. And tell me, you were in my meeting with me, Fernando. Tell me some takeaways, anything that comes to your mind, and then I'll just piggyback and add on some more things.
So yes, one thing that's really important is understanding the seller's point of view, right? So whenever you're buying and you're negotiating, I think it's important to step in the seller's shoes to be able to see their point of view and to strategize a way to negotiate in a way that's fair, right?
It's very good.
Because when you everybody wants the lowest price for a buyer and the seller wants the highest price, right? But when you negotiate in an overly aggressive way, in a way that maybe is a little bit unfair or a little bit unjust, then you put yourself in a position where you insult the person, right? And people nowadays, they're easily offended. So it's very dangerous, and that can hurt your negotiations, right? So it's important to know, have a list of the things that what you did. You made a list of the things that could get fixed, top priority. You communicated with your buyer that there is a possibility that the seller may not want to do this. If they don't want to repair, are you still okay with that? Do you still want to proceed, or do you want to cancel the contract? All these things are very important in negotiating. Just knowing what you need, knowing how you're going to negotiate it, and then also looking at the point of view of the seller.
That's something that I think it's important, because sometimes we can get so caught up into our side, our version, what I want for me, which is important. Of course. But we also got to take a step back kind of look at it from their point of view too, and see what's within reason, what's fair, without losing yourself on their side too much, but having a little bit of balance. And that's probably what a good real estate agent can do. They'll end up seeing you both sides of it while they're still looking out for your best interest, whether they're representing you on the seller side or whether they're representing you on the buyer side.
And so that's for buyers. I feel like that was for sellers. Some tips that we recommend now because of the inventory. We're more of a buyer's market now. So what are some tips that you would give to a seller that would help them negotiate in their favor, or maybe how to prepare for that?
Yeah, so as a seller, one of the things that I like to recommend is from the very beginning is I like to ask them, imagine you're the buyer of your house. You're thinking about buying your own home. Imagine parking on the street. Imagine getting out on the sidewalk, going to the front door. What are you looking at? Because a lot of times what happens to sellers, like any homeowner, is you're used to seeing your own place and
Yeah.
you see things there that have always been there, but you don't see it from a buyer perspective because you're not buying your own home because you live there, right? So it's important that the seller sees it from a buyer's perspective. They imagine themselves as a buyer and says, what do I like? What do I don't like about my own home? Or maybe what can I adjust to make it better? Sometimes it's very few things. I think it's so funny. Sometimes you have, as a sellers, they're so used to coming into the garage or the back door, and they never rarely come to the front door. And so the front door is full of cobwebs and dirt and stuff like that, and the front door is not clean. So that doesn't give a good impression, right? So stuff like this is what we call a pre-listing process, and then afterwards, having it perhaps even better is taking it to the extreme of getting the home inspected prior to putting it on the market.
Right.
So if you can have the home inspected by a licensed professional inspector before it's even on the market, you're already disclosing what's wrong or what was wrong and how what you fixed it so that a buyer can have that peace of mind.
Right. Or the pre-inspection can already let you know what you're gonna need to repair, know what you're gonna negotiate, know what you're not. It's just a better way to be prepared.
Right. So that helps a seller in their negotiating position because they were proactive about it.
Being proactive. That's a big thing with selling. Um, the last thing you want is to find out your house had that problem, and then now you're negotiating things that you didn't even think you were gonna negotiate, and then that'll change the price point that you wanted. And the only you say it best. The only surprise we want is on our birthday.
That's right. There's two surprises we want: our birthday and Christmas, and that's it, right?
Right.
All the other surprises we don't. Good.
Right. So I think that concludes the video. Remember, guys, if you need any help buying or selling a home, see an expert. We're your experts. Whether it's buying, we help you negotiate. We walk you through the process. If it's selling, we also do the same thing. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.